what's going on? You're now tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave. Today we have a special episode. This is like one of those heartfelt moment episodes. Dave, I'm pretty sure you'll agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So today we're going to talk about our experience going over to the Silver Screams convention. This is the third one, so this is part three. Definitely it held up to the tagline that they had set for it. So it was called Music, Horror, Gore, and More. I would definitely think they hit on
Every
every
single one.
yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely did it. So
Yep.
um it was cool. So the event had gone on from Friday the 13th, so September 13th, all the way until Sunday the 15th. So it was a 3-day event, went pretty
Yep.
well. This event was put on by Ice Nine Kills. For a lot of people that aren't familiar with Ice Nine Kills, they're a cool horrorcore band that, they're from Worcester. So, and that plays a big part into this whole conversation
For
because
sure.
it's just like, they're from Worcester, and so I want to give them a big shout out because it's really cool to, become something, what I mean, like a big band and then come back home and then create this big thing of what you love and spread it with everyone in your community. So it's not like they just got big and just took off, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. The thing that I think is special about Ice Nine Kills is it's somebody just mixing the things they love and having an absolute blast with it. So
yeah,
just integrating horror into music and living your best life. We'll talk about it later, but when that guy Spencer is on stage and he's acting out all the scenes and using props, that dude looks like he's having the time of his life.
yeah, definitely. And so they kicked this event off. Like I said, this is their third one, but they started back in 2022. That was down in like Danvers, right?
I think last year's was definitely in Danvers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know at least one of them. I don't know if both of the last couple have been there.
Mm,
Interesting place. I'm assuming they picked Danvers because of the history there with the mental asylum and everything like that.
yeah.
I would assume. I don't know. But
Nah,
yeah,
but
coming to Worcester is a big deal.
yeah, it is a big deal. And so, like we said, we're gonna bring this whole connection back together. But this year it was at the DCU Center. So, you want to like touch on that, like, because
Yeah.
we had a
Yeah.
special event that used to be at the DCU Center.
So I mean, we've mentioned this convention 1,000 times, but this is the location that Rock and Shock used to be at.
Yep.
And for anyone who's not from our area, Rock and Shock was the convention, the
Hmm.
horror convention. It was the perfect blend of horror and music, and it was just the best. I mean,
Yeah.
I had so many like important horror moments there at those conventions, like meeting Freddy Krueger, meeting George Romero.
Yep.
Um, the music, obviously, the Misfits used to play. The ICP was always huge. Like when the year that ICP was there, I think there was more people dressed up in like Juggalo
Juggalos.
makeup than there was actually in horror cosplay.
Yeah.
That was huge because ICP was so big at that time. But even that's where I first saw Human Centipede.
Okay.
That was
Cool.
I think that was where someone actually passed out in the room. It was just
Was it
super
you?
hot.
Was it
No,
you?
no, no. It was so funny because it was just super freaking hot. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and we were all crammed. There's like standing room only. I had a seat, but
Hmm.
like all of a sudden you just hear hangers rattling and someone
Yeah.
fell into a closet. But like, of
Uh,
course, you leave there and you tell the story that someone passed out because Human Centipede was so disgusting.
no,
But
yeah.
I mean, truth be told, it was just we were just sweating our asses off.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. Rock and Shock has definitely played a big part in all our lives. So for this crossover and come back here, it was truly special because, over the years, just going to Rock and Shock and also doing this and becoming horror creators, we've run into a lot of people, like a lot of, and we made friendships out of this,
Yeah,
and so it's like, for the people that we would always pass by at these conventions, and so, after the pandemic, Rock and Shock closed down, and so that definitely hit us. You know what I mean? Right in the chest.
yeah,
That was a big hit to lose Rock and Shock, I think a lot of the states, you have the Monster Manias, the Horror Hounds, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We might not have those big, big events, but Rock and Shock was just always that little small community where it was just like, oh man, I can't wait for Rock and Shock this year. It didn't even matter who was on the guest lineup. It was
We
just
were going
about
no matter what.
yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't care. Like, oh, he's not coming this year. I don't care.
Yeah.
But, we have all those experiences and, all those memories. And so just being in the DCU Center again for a horror convention this past weekend, I think it definitely meant a lot to us, what I mean? And then running to, like we said, running into our friends again
Yeah.
and catching up with everyone.
I don't think I've ever heard people talk about Rock and Shock more than I heard it this weekend. Like we'll
Yeah.
mention it with like, guests sometimes or friends that are from
Hmm.
the area. But like I don't know, I can't even count how many times someone said, "Oh man, Rock and Shock's back." Or
Yep.
like, so many people said that. And I loved it. It's hard to you don't want to compare completely.
No, yeah.
But the vibe was there, the energy was there. It was honestly, I'm still like high off of Silver Scream Con. Like I had such a
Oh,
good time.
yeah.
I had such a good time. I
And
don't
that's
think
the
I've
thing
had that much fun at a con in like
in a long
I don't
time.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
just great.
And that's the thing. And it's like we're talking about our experiences with it. Spencer and Ice Nine Kills, they're from Worcester. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that going into setting this up and planning it, this definitely meant a lot to them being in their home state. And then, so yeah, I
And
think,
it's exciting because like if this one was so good, I can only imagine what we have coming up in the upcoming years. Like
oh,
that made
definitely.
me excited to think about.
Yeah. Yep.
So
And so it
yeah.
was cool, because this event we were able to, usually sometimes we're going as fans or vendors and stuff like that, but we were actually able to go to this event as like the press, you know what I mean? So we were able to kind of go in and kind of explore little things like deeper than, from a normal ticket price would get you. So I think it was kind of cool. But Dave, like I said, we ran into a lot of our
Yeah.
friends. You want to like touch on some of that?
It's funny because we were trying to like jog our memories of everybody we ran into, and there was like so many of our friends and
Yep.
people that we've just connected with through the social media and all that. First, giving a shout out to Mandy and Ryan of That Strange Show.
Yep.
Obviously, long time connection there with them. Uh, Also, like cool seeing like Mandy was she was dressed out as female art. She was also
Hmm.
co-hosting or hosting and a judge for the cosplay contest and
Contest.
all that stuff. So just cool seeing her being involved. I know her and that the members of That Strange Show have been involved in cons before, but she was absolutely killing it. And
Oh yeah.
I'm always just impressed with her makeup.
Yeah, definitely. So, like you said, it was cool running into her husband Ryan, and after
I almost
that,
didn't
yeah,
recognize him because he didn't have any makeup on this time. I'm like,
he had the little man bun ponytail going on too. I'm like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
yeah,
But I hit up Angel. He's also from That Strange Show. He's a friend of the podcast on a few times. But we got to get them all on. You know what I mean, and do it the right
yes,
way.
yep,
But yeah, I text Angel. I'm like, where the fuck are you? He goes, oh
yeah,
man, I couldn't make it this year, but I'm definitely gonna plan it out. And I'm like, dude, you're missing it. I'm like, this is like you said before, I'm like, this is rock and shock vibes all
yeah,
over. And so he
yeah,
was just like, fuck, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Angel, you got to get to him, man. And so then shortly after that, we ran into John Campo Piano, who he's
mm,
been on the show before. We're obviously like um, glad to see him and just to see how like the success he's been having. Being part
hmm.
of the It documentary. He worked on that the Pet Cemetery documentary. Uh, Snapper, which we
Yep.
talked about when he was on. So I mean, he's just been doing awesome, and I mean, his documentaries have been like just so amazing. So he was there. He was vending or not vending. He was one of the guests. He brought
Yeah.
his Pennywise Pennywise costume, which was awesome to see.
Yep.
So great running into him. We ran into our buddy Garrett of Born to Be Rad.
Hmm.
Great to see him. He had
Yep.
his own little celebrity moment where somebody it was great to hear though. He was telling us about how somebody ran into him and was like, "Oh, you're from Born to Be Rad," and like he signed an autograph. We're like, "That's awesome, man."
Yeah.
We're still waiting for someone to ask for our autograph, so maybe one day, but that's awesome to hear. Um, ran into Chris McGibbon of Spooky Picture Show. So
Yep.
he was helping out a buddy at one of the vendors.
Hmm.
Um, Becky, It's Alive, was there. She's on our social media. We connect
Yep.
with her. But we were actually talking, Brendan. I don't know if you want to kind of share that experience.
It was funny because, we were in line. I think we were waiting for Lauren from Terrifier. We were sitting there just kind of like waiting for her to kind of finish up. And so I was like, I think that's Becky. And then so we kind of looked at each other and was just like,
Yeah,
what I mean? Like we're kind of shy at times too. And so it was like, after the event, like a few days later, I'd left a message like on like a little emoji on one of her pictures that she put up with art on her Instagram. And she goes, "Oh, was you in front of me at the convention? We were in another line." She goes, "I was gonna say hi, but I didn't know if you guys would recognize me and stuff like that." And I was just like, "We have that same feeling, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
when we see people, we don't want to sit there and kind of go up and then like, oh, I don't know who you guys are. We that kind of runs through our heads and shit
yeah,
like that. But you responded back saying, "No, you guys are awesome. I know who you guys are. I can't wait to, for the next events and stuff like that." So I think it's cool. But yeah, for everybody that's out there, we're just two guys that just like to go to events and have
yeah.
fun. We're not looking like, oh yeah, people are supposed to know who we are and shit like that. So we're just having a good time. So if you see us at an event, definitely come up to us because you might see us and you might think like, oh, those guys are like bigger than what they are. Like, nah, we're just normal guys.
Yeah.
Come up
I
to
mean,
us,
if you
say what's
want
up.
our autographs though, that'd be cool. And then I can tell Garrett that, hey, us too, man. Um, I saw, but we didn't get a chance to stop her because we were in line waiting for somebody. But Jax from
Mhm.
Here for the Booze was there.
Yep.
Also, Horror Freak Cosplay was there dressed as John Carver. I just want to give him a big shout out. That cosplay was really cool, and we connected after. His wife was cosplayed as Ghostface too, and
Hmm.
it's funny because people were like, I had a Thanksgiving shirt on, so people were like, "Oh, was that you dressed up as John Carver?" I'm like, obviously not, dude. I got just wearing a t-shirt. What are you talking about? But his cosplay was really awesome. Um,
Mm.
Shout out to Marcus Slabine, sorry. But he worked on Stream recently,
Yep.
and he also worked on the Terrifier films. So it was great catching up with him. We had just recently, I don't know if we've mentioned this on the podcast, but we had
No.
just done a Q&A with him a few weeks back, as they showed Stream at a showcase cinema near us.
Hmm.
So we are able to connect with him a little bit. He was one of the producers, and acted. I think he had a scene in it. I didn't get
Yeah.
to see Stream yet. You did.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Definitely check it out. So I think there's I don't know if it's still in theaters everywhere, but it might be like here and there at like certain spaces. So check your local listings or it'll be on VOD really soon. So keep an eye
Yeah,
out for that.
that's got a killer cast in there. We got David
Yeah.
Howard Thornton. Oh, the big name of it, Tim Curry.
Tim
I
Curry.
don't know
Yeah, that
how I'm
came up.
blanking on that one. Yeah, tons of names in there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peter Anthony, who was there. You guys
Yep.
know him from Roseblood. He's been on the show as well. It's awesome catching up with him. That dude's just all energy.
Oh
He's just
yeah.
all energy. Love Peter Anthony.
Yeah.
Jeff Dakota was there. We did not run into him, but he was also on the show talking about his film Deadly Endings
Hmm.
previously. But he did the nicest thing on the Friday because we were showing the Friday the 13th remake at Buttonwoods Brewery for that Friday, so we didn't go
Hmm.
to Silver Scream on the Friday. On Friday night, he sent us a video from Derek Mears taunting us about showing his film and not giving him an invite. But
Yeah.
that was really cool that Jeff was able to connect with Derek and tell him about the event that we had. So, and then the last one, last but not least, one of our favorite is Bora from Salem Black Hat Society.
Hmm.
Wild personality.
Yeah. So if you're gonna be in Salem, just definitely look out for the witch that's pushing around the
The big cauldron, yeah.
the cauldron and stuff. So it's like definitely get a picture. It's on America's Got Talent and stuff like that. So
What,
it's like
wait, Bora was on America's Got Talent?
yeah,
I don't think I ever saw that clip. I got to find that. Oh, dude, we
yeah,
got to post that on our social media. That's
yeah.
amazing.
I gotta get that up there. So definitely shout out to Bar. It's always good running into her at all the events and stuff. Like it's always
Oh
quick,
my God.
quick with the jokes
Oh
on
my
the
God.
fly. You
So
know.
we got to check out we didn't see both the cosplay contest, but we saw the kids one,
Yeah.
and Bora was freaking hilarious, as
Mm,
like just like taunting the kids or making like all these like funny comments about the, just calling, like telling them to shoe and all that stuff. It was just
yep.
hilarious. Bora's amazing. So definitely look out for Bora when you're in Salem.
Yeah. So, like we said again, this event, this convention was really great. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like you said, it was a lot of fun. We run into a lot of friends and stuff. But just for everyone, I think that like, Silver Scream brought together horror fanatics and Ice Nine Kills fans from all over the world because we even seen some other horror content creators that were from like London and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was cool. You know what I mean? A lot of people that were from out of state, and we were kind of looking like, oh shit, that person's here.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yep.
So, definitely if you're looking for that experience to come down to, Rhode Island or Mass or anything like that, definitely look for the next listings, like when they're gonna announce like the next con, because this is
Yeah.
something that you want to be a part of, to experience what we've gone through over the years, and having that whole setup for like Rock and
Yeah,
Shock.
I mean,
So,
I'm not totally certain if other areas have something like this, but like
mm,
that mix mash of horror horror movies and music is like such a
yeah.
great energy because people are genuinely excited for the concerts. And I honestly don't care who's playing, like,
Hmm.
because there's been plenty of times at Rock and Shock that I didn't go to the concerts. It just brings a level of energy though, because people are excited about it. So and I mean, it's just basically something for everyone.
Yeah,
So go
that's
ahead.
the thing. Like for Rock and Shock, I never went to any of the concerts either, but we'll talk about it later. But we were able to go to this one, and so it
Yeah.
was like, damn, makes me wonder how those other concerts were
Oh,
back
I'm
in the
sure
day.
I know we missed a lot back then. So if you are interested in going next year, they do offer some cool packages just for people buying tickets. So they had this RIP package, which was basically a 3-day weekend pass,
Hmm.
with admission all 3 days. You got entrance 30 minutes early, which maybe doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you
That's
saw the
big.
line wrapped around the building, it was a big deal.
Yep.
And then you get exclusive entry to a Friday night RIP party. There was one ticket to the Saturday night concert, which we were just talking about. It says it's offsite, but it's literally across the street, and it was outside, which was
Hmm.
such a great like atmosphere. And then you get like just some collectible items like a lanyard, a foil pass, convention bag, a hat pin, VIP poster. I mean, a flag, commemorative coin,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean their merch was cool. I honestly, we were so wrapped up in everything we were doing, I didn't even look. I'm
At the
regretting this big
shirts.
time. I didn't even look at the shirts, and then I saw someone with a shirt and I was like, what the hell, why did I not even look at them?
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
am
Like
kind of kicking myself I didn't get that, um
the
the
Fangoria magazine, the
the
program.
Fangoria program.
Yeah,
So
that was sick. That was
yeah,
sick. We should have definitely grabbed one up. I don't know why.
I know, I in the moment I was like, I don't need one. Then I just left and I was like, damn it, why didn't I get
I think
one?
we can order one though. Yeah, so
So yeah.
it has Spencer on the cover, like it's like set up as like a Fangoria magazine. So also, if you're a big fan of Fangoria magazine, use the promo code PVD Horror to receive 20% off of your subscriptions or anything that you want to purchase on that website if
and
you're a
it
Fangoria fan.
and it does pay to be a Fangoria member, because like yesterday we just got that little collectible Fangoria mini episode, mini
Hmm.
issue, which
Yep.
was all about the Substance movie, which just came out with Demi Moore.
Yep, it was pretty cool. So if you haven't
Yeah,
seen it yet, check it out. It's definitely worth
I'm
checking out.
surprised you didn't mention though, it wasn't just that it was a Fangoria magazine and that it was Spencer on the cover, but he was doing the whole Skeet Ulrich
Yeah, from the
pose
Scream.
from
Yep.
Scream, who
Yep.
like he totally does look like him in a way. Like he pulled that off for sure.
Yeah, they both get the ladies going crazy though.
Yeah,
So
that's true. And then there is a Psychos only package, I guess you would say, where
yeah.
you get all the premium perks of the convention. But you need to be an annual premium member for that one, I think.
Yeah.
So
And so
you'd
yeah,
have
it
to
was a
look
lot of
into that. But
Yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff. So you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss out on that. Definitely take the opportunity to kind of look in, prepare. You know what I mean? Like I said, because this is gonna be like what, Monster Mania and everything else
Mm,
is. This is gonna be the event to be going to that you want to go to. So
yeah,
definitely, I can't wait for next year. So we still have a lot more to talk about.
I know. I was just going to mention that I actually forgot what I was going to mention, so never mind. I
I was gonna mention,
never
we
mind.
old man.
Yes. All right. So, the one of the features of this. Oh, I know what I was going to mention. Um, so we went on a Saturday, right? And that
Yeah.
was the night of the show. So obviously
Hmm.
Saturday was busy, and
Yep.
that's typical of most conventions when you got the 3-day convention. But one thing I would mention also is like if you're going on a Friday and you expect, oh, Friday's going to be dead. That's not what we heard. Actually,
Yeah.
we heard quite the contrast. It was busy Friday, busy Saturday, and as far as I know, I also heard there was super long lines
On
on
Sunday.
Sunday as well.
Yep.
The only piece of advice I would give people is get there early because we got there when it started and the lines were manageable. But if you got there too late, you were waiting.
Yeah, the lines were big. Like you said, in that 30 minutes of getting in early with that RAP package played a big part because, we were sitting there looking at that line. And so for us, for the press, we were able to go in before, but it comes down to that waiting in that line. You know what I mean? I think like you said, it wrapped around the building.
Yeah.
But I
Yep.
think it's a cool experience too, so it gave a lot of people time to kind of like chat and talk about who they were kind of like looking forward to meeting or seeing someone's shirts to say, "Oh, I
Yeah.
like your shirt. I like that. I like your hat." You know what I mean? So it gave people that chance to kind of connect with each other. So I don't think waiting in the line is as bad. So it's like you get that experience. And so when you're in the
Yeah.
convention, you're running into that person and you're like, "Oh, I seen that person," or whatever, and they become friends. So and that's what
Mm-hmm.
it's all about. This horror community is about, just becoming a family, and that's what it's
Yeah.
all been
Yep.
about.
Connecting over that common interest. And when I say long lines, it's probably not even as bad as lines I've experienced in like Monster Mania. I've
Yeah.
experienced some pretty bad lines. But David Howard Thornton line got pretty long towards the end of
Yeah, and then I think we'll
the
talk
day.
about that later when we get down to
Yeah.
it. So it's like I think that's the cool thing about it. It's like the lines were manageable, but
Yeah.
they were if they were long, they were for a reason, and we'll touch on that later.
Yep. So they had some panels going on. So there was one for called Inked in Blood,
Mm,
um, which included Ice Nine Kills and a new graphic novel
yeah.
that he was part of, Inked in Blood 2. Well, Once Upon a Crime, which
Hmm.
was written by Silver Scream Con's own Ryan J. Downey, um, from from a story by him and Spencer.
Mm,
So that was one of them. And then there was Your Numbers Up, which had David Arquette, Jamie Kennedy, and the stuntman Lee Waddell, who was Ghostface. There
yeah.
was Worst Vacation, Worst being WURST, was with Massachusetts born director, writer, producer, and actor, the legendary Eli Roth. Um, which they had a couple of Cabin Fever individuals there, which was pretty cool to see. They also had a panel called Clowning Around with Damian Leone, Lauren Lavera, Elliot Fullman, Amelia McLean, who played the little Terrifier, and of course, David Howard Thornton. And let's see, they had Talking Chop, conversation with Bill Moseley um, about his role as Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah. And
And oh yeah, also as in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
yeah, that was crazy. And then, big fan, Friday the 13th, they
Yeah.
had a panel called Thank God It's Friday, which they, had Sean S. Cunningham and Derek Mers to talk about, Friday the 13th, part two, and the 2009 remake.
They also
And,
had Warrington Gillette in there, which a lot
mm,
of people were excited about because he played Jason in part two, and he's one. Oh, um, we had ran into another buddy, Nick, um, who has the one that had donated his sign for us for our Friday the 13th event for people to
Yep.
take photo ops at. And then we ended up running into him next day, and he was saying how like that was one of the signatures that was gonna like finish his
His course.
he
Yeah.
had a his deck that he had signed by all the Jasons and stuff like that. So he was pretty excited about that.
Nah, that's cool. And so they had another panel called Stabbing in the Dark, which was a conversation with Nick Castle, PJ Souls, and John Michael Graham. So just talking about the whole 1978 masterpiece of Halloween, it was pretty cool. They had Talk Scary to Me, which featured Danielle Harris and who else was it?
Scout Taylor
Well,
Compton
yeah,
was there. Yeah,
yeah. So they were kind of talking about their remake film with the Rob Zombies Halloween. So I think that was pretty cool, for
yeah,
people to kind of like see this and like kind of break it everything up. And there was a special, panel for you.
yeah. The Jig is Up, which had Shawnee Smith from the Saw films,
Mm,
which always great to see her. That's the second time we had seen her at a con. I know she was at CT Horror Fest a few years back.
mm.
And then they had the Idle Hands one, 25 years of Idle Hands.
25 years?
That's insane, 25 years.
I remember when that came out and I had rented it. Well, actually, yeah, like, I had rented it on a video. I would see the previews and I was just like, that movie's crazy because just the connection of everything, from Devon Sawa from being from like Little Giants and
Yeah.
Final Destination and his buddy that was over in the Mighty Ducks to see that crossover, with Seth Green. Um, that was a special movie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And obviously Devin Sawa has been killing it in the Chucky series and everything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then there was Welcome to Horrorwood, which was conversation with the star of Ice Nine Kills, Welcome to Hollywood Horrorwood Saga, which
Hmm.
was Scout Taylor Compton, Bill Moseley, Ricky Dean Logan, who was Carlos in Freddy's Dead, and Nadia Teichman, who
Yeah.
is that Spencer's girlfriend or wife?
I'm not sure.
I
I
looked
don't
it
know
up
if
and
he's married. I don't know
I
if
looked
he's
it up and
married.
he was linked to her, so I don't know.
No, okay.
I might be
Yeah.
just spreading gossip.
Yeah, so that was a cool panel because that's the Welcome to Horrorwood. So if you've seen the Ice Nine Kills video, Welcome to Horrorwood, each one of those celebrities play a big role in that video. And so, you had Bill Moseley as as a lawyer, Spencer, they're trying to pin the crime to Spencer. So if you haven't checked that video out, definitely check it out. It's worth checking
Yeah,
out. So,
nice. And then there was horror trivia with Jose Mangin, who is from Sirius XM,
mhm.
and he's on the what station is that?
It's the metal,
The metal one,
metal.
and
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
listen
remember the
to,
other one. But yeah, he's on the Sirius XM, and
yeah.
he was also the host or the person that kind of introduced all the bands too as well
Yeah.
when we got to the concert.
So
So
yeah, we had a lot of cool guests that came this year, a lot of people we were looking forward to. It was so hard to kind of like figure out like who we wanted to meet first.
let me ask you a question. Has there ever been a con where you and I both had so many people on our list that we knew we wanted to meet? It's been a
Uh,
while. I think the only other one that we met that many different people like in was a long ago
CT,
rock. Oh, I was thinking the long ago Rock and Shock that had like we had
Ray,
the Twin
Ray
Peaks
Wise.
people. Yeah, we had there was just a number of people at that one, but this one there was a lot.
I think it was CT Horrorfest. That was the last one that we linked
There
because
was a
we had the Saw franchise and we had
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
from the Burning.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of like special
Cropsy.
people. Cropsy. I didn't even know he was alive still, you know what I mean? So it was a cool, you know, little addition when we walked there. We walked in and we met him, so
Yeah.
I think it was cool. But like I said, yeah, it's hard to always kind of narrow down like who you want to see first. And so when we first walked into the convention, like the let's talk about the layout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how everything was set up. So
Yep.
we talk about how, Rock and Shock had their layout. So when we walked into this convention, it looked a little different.
Yeah, you immediately like you walk. past like half a row of vendors, and then you're
Hmm.
immediately at the guest spot,
Yeah.
which
And so,
I didn't even realize. Like we're like just looking around, and then suddenly the freaking nun staring at us.
yeah. So it's weird. So it's like, we walk in and so Bonnie Aarons is just sitting right there and we're just like, okay, we have to see her. We have
Yeah.
to see her, kind of talk to her a little bit, because, we had Chrissy Fox on, Rob Zombie's brother,
Yep. Spider One. Yep.
Spider One, that's his wife. We had them on the show, and so Bonnie's always with them. And so I think that it was a cool connection. I mean, we let her know that, Chrissy, come on the podcast and stuff and kind of talk with us. And so just the experience and just seeing people getting their that poster signed, the
Oh
painting
yeah.
of the
The
nun.
Yep. Yeah. Somebody had actually brought like their own painting of the nun, and that was just like beautiful.
Yeah.
He had it in like he brought it in a box and everything, so it didn't get damaged. That was that like we've seen some pretty cool things get signed, but that was definitely
Mm.
up there.
Yeah,
That
it's
thing was
top
gorgeous.
notch.
Yeah. I was gonna say like if you're going to a con and she's gonna be there, she's 1000% worth getting a photo with because she doesn't do just one pose. Like she stood behind us, she had us like do the hands like this, and then she did like three or four different faces behind us. Totally worth it.
And
Totally worth
we didn't realize that until we were looking into the camera
it. Yeah.
roll. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm
Like,
glad you had the live photos on too, because like
yeah.
when you click on them, you see her face changing throughout. So that was a great start to the day.
Yeah, definitely. And there was just so many people, but I want to just touch on like this person. I did not know how this person would be, but I've heard nothing but positive things, but sometimes when we go to conventions, some people can be a little different.
Sure.
But Eli Roth was in town, you know what I mean? So he's actually from Newton, Mass. So this convention played a big part for him too, because I'm pretty sure he grew up going to Rock and Shock.
I
So,
would have to imagine he's been to a rock and chalk for
oh,
sure.
definitely. So, being able to like meet Eli Roth, like you said, you had your Thanksgiving shirt on.
Yeah.
It was just a cool experience, being able to talk to him, letting him know like, hey man, like my kids are big fans of, the cartoon that came out that you got going on for DreamWorks. And he was just like so happy to hear that. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
that, I think a lot of people love to hear about some of their other projects that aren't getting noticed as some of his big films like Cabin Fever and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah. That was honestly uh my highlight was meeting him because
hmm
I've just always been such a big fan ever since Hostel came out. But I just like genuinely appreciate him as like a horror person.
yep.
He's just always involved in something. He's not afraid to try to push the bar. He's a horror fan making horror movies.
hmm
I just really like him. And we got to tell him like how much we appreciate like his contributions to the horror genre, and that was a really cool moment.
Yeah. So, that, like you said, it was really special. And just having those conversations with him and seeing him interact with some of the fans and like
Yeah.
some of the kids, like he'd seen one kid and one kid was just like so like spot on with, a lot of his work and like some of the lines that were from some of his films. And so you just seeing that interaction was just really cool because he was just like so happy, and then you
Hmm.
had like you said, like sometimes some people always get like a negative a look on things or it's it's weird, so it was good
Yeah.
to see him in like a good space.
Or we actually saw someone maybe tell him something negative. The
Yeah.
bizarro Gary Busey looking guy.
Oh yeah, I don't know
Like,
what the
he
hell
was
was
all
going
mad.
on.
I think so. I think the person in front of him was taking too much time talking to him, which was cool. That like, because I assumed Eli Roth was going to be like maybe like a quick, you say a nice thing and you move on, but he did take time to talk to people, and
Yeah.
you just saw the guy waiting in line, just going, and he's like keeps pointing at the guy in front of him. He's like, and he looked. Oh, it's so funny the face he was making. And then when he went up, he like said something as he was leaving that was like clearly like Eli was like, what? But
But I understand because
I see both
honestly,
sides of it,
yeah, from Gary Busey, angry Gary Busey side, for our next guest, we were behind someone
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of gave someone a bad experience. So,
Yeah.
Dave, you
Yeah.
want to introduce our
Yeah.
next guest that we
So
met?
we met David Arquette,
Yeah,
who I mean that's such a cool experience. I didn't think David Arquette would ever be at a convention.
no,
And Brandon, I have to assume that like that was probably a big deal for you being such a big screen person. Like
yeah.
that,
And
and he's so integral in that.
not even just Scream. It's like, you know what I mean? Like his other films, like Eight-Legged Freaks or friggin' Ready to Rumble,
Yeah.
you know, being in that zone of being a wrestling fan growing up, you know, and him being like in a wrestling movie because you even like pointed some of the pictures and you didn't realize
Yeah.
that he was like doing some of the promos. I think that was they did a lot of the promo for WCW for that film. And then something else, like, you know, I had to tell him, you know, because we both are big fans of this clown on Fox 64, Bozo the
Yeah.
Clown. So last year, you know, we were talking to Ear Bulls. So he creates sneakers for, you know, like Full Moon, Toxic Avengers and everything like that. Um he actually did this special Bozo shoe. And I had hit him up and I was like, man, these shoes are fucking sick. Like, those are crazy. Like, when they release them, he goes, I just still gotta sit there and kind of get everything ironed out and we gotta figure out a date. But David Arquette is the owner. He owns the rights to Bozo the Clown. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's
So weird.
crazy.
Yeah.
So when we met him at the convention, I was just like, man, I had no idea. Like, you were a big fan of Bozo the Clown and you own the rights to it. And he was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm just sitting there
Yeah.
like,
He's such like a happy guy.
yeah,
But and we were kind of like a little thrown off as the person in front of us had him sign like a bunch of different things. But that wasn't the part that like kind of threw us off. The thing that we thought was a little like I guess we left there wondering like what's the etiquette on this?
yeah,
He had him sign a poster and it was a really cool screen poster. And he had everybody that he signed it write down a quote from the movie, but he told them what to write. And I'm
yeah.
like, isn't that kind of the thing with like when you get an autograph is they write what they want to write?
Hmm.
And I get it, the guy wanted it a specific way, but it just felt like we watched as David was doing it. You know, you could kind of tell he was a little like maybe put off or just like I don't know, maybe he was like not sure why he was writing that one quote and not something maybe he wanted to write.
And
It was interesting.
I don't think it was just because it was the quote. It was because I think that, like you said, what's the etiquette? How
Yeah.
many items can you get signed at one time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like you have a line and you have someone pulling out at least like 10 things. So
Yeah.
it's like, no problem,
I
signing,
mean, I
signing,
wonder,
signing, signing.
did he pay for each individually? Because those that adds up if he did.
I don't think so. I think that once you do something like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah,
because sometimes the guests can be a little nice and let things fly.
sure.
But like you said, there was a few items, and then that poster was the last straw, where it was just like,
Yeah,
now here you go,
yeah,
sign it this way. This is what I wanted to say, and you could see it, you know what I mean? Because it comes becomes uncomfortable when you have like the guest looking around like
yeah.
his
They're like, "Are we got
line,
to move along?" Yeah,
or and then looking at like the person that's his point helper that handles the cash and everything like that, or taking
yeah,
pictures and it just like the eye contact is just kind of like, and at
yeah.
the same time, the
It
dude's
got
just trying
weird.
to make all this conversation while you're telling him what to do. I don't know.
Yeah, it got
It's just
weird.
some shit I wouldn't do. So I understand Gary Busey, angry Gary Busey,
Yeah.
but
Um,
what if he was behind him?
Angry Gary Busey would have had some words.
He would have turned
He
into
would.
the ginger dead man for real.
I do have to give a big shout out to David Arquette for having Halloween candy at his table.
Oh, he did. He did.
So, and that was cool because we were like, oh, I need gum. I need gum. And then, like, I mean, he didn't have any gum, but he had Smarties. So we grabbed some of those.
He had Jolly Ranchers too, but it
And
wasn't in the bucket, so I didn't want to be rude and be like, let me give
can I
him
get your
Jolly
autograph
Ranchers.
and fruit punch Jolly Rancher, please?
No, let me get a green apple. You know, because if it comes down to green apple, you only get a certain amount of green apples in the bag, and those are special. So I didn't want him to make motherfucker take my green apple Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
Fuck. Also, Jamie Kennedy was in the house from Scream too, so
Mm.
that was cool. His table was right next to David Arquette's, so we didn't end up seeing him.
No.
Yeah, but it was
We
cool. Good,
just there
cool
wasn't enough
experience.
time to meet everybody that we probably and not enough money to meet everybody that we probably wanted to meet.
Yep.
I mean, we did definitely hit up a ton, and there was people that we kind of took out because we had already met them in the past. So we're like,
Mhm.
I kind of want to meet some people that we haven't met yet.
Yeah. But your boy was there, and I think we
Yeah,
walked by his table and we said, "What's up?" But we didn't. We should have got the picture.
we should
So
have. And here's another thing.
hold
So
on, let me
like,
say his name. His name's
go
Ricky
ahead.
Dean Logan.
Oh,
Now you can go ahead.
Carlos,
Yep.
lend me your ear from Freddy's Dead. So if there's no price on the table, I personally like feel weird being like, "Hey, how much for a photo?" I don't like
Mm.
asking that question. So I do love when they actually says it and his table didn't have it. And I like in retrospect, I totally should have got a fucking picture with him, but I
Yeah.
just felt weird about it.
That's like one of my favorite kills in the Freddy Krueger franchise.
It's one of mine too.
Because it's like, damn, like, because like, there's kills that make you feel a certain way, but it's just like how that like the
Yeah.
the knives on the board, and then like fucking with your ear, and then how they sound it out, and I'm like, oh man, like that was one of the kills in Friday. I mean, in Nightmare on Elm Street that just kind of just made you feel uncomfortable.
Here's a weird, way too personal story.
Mm,
It used to really bother me because I had like my mom when I was growing up used to do that with my ears, like shove
mm.
freaking Q-tips in my ears before
Oh
they
yeah,
found out that was a bad thing to do. Like I
yep.
used to have some ear issues as a kid.
Mm.
So like getting that Q-tip shoved in my ear, like I that's like the worst feeling if she ever like went too far in or something. And I was always afraid it was going to go so far in that I would lose my hearing. So that scene really messed with me. And yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah.
Awesome guest for them to pull in.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, he was in the video. He's actually Spencer's lawyer in the video. So
Nice. Nice.
the connection of how everything came together was like really special. So and you could tell um Spencer's a real big fan because that was a deep dive guest. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that guy anywhere else
Nope.
before.
I've never seen him at a con. I mean, if he has, then that's awesome. But like that seemed like a hand selected one.
Mm. And we had Bill Mosley there. We met Bill multiple times. So kind of walk by the table, just, seeing what he had going on and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it was cool, like I said, we met Bill at the last Rock and Shock, you know what I mean? Because my son is a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. So, when he was in there, he had gotten one of his well, the dolls signed from Horror Decor. So
Yeah.
definitely check out Horror Decor, the hometown heroes, you know what I mean? So they have a lot of cool stuff. They did a few merch for us for
Yeah.
pillows and stuff.
And
But
candles.
yeah, definitely. So shout
I
out to Hard Decor.
my first time meeting Bill Mosley was in 2006 or 7.
Hmm.
Think about that. That dude does like every con. I feel like
Yeah.
he goes to every con since that. That's dedication
Oh
to
yeah.
fans, to the genre. I mean, and he's always doing work in movies. Like he is just all over the place.
Hmm.
I think my first time meeting him was at a Rock and Shock. So that I mean, he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had someone else special from the Saw franchise.
Yep. So we said Shawnee Smith was there. She had done a panel, but she was there greeting all the guests. That was the second time we've seen her at a con because she was also
Yep.
at CT Horror Fest. We mentioned that Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton already were there.
Hmm.
We've met both of them in the past as well. Derek Mears, we mentioned, was there. He's from the Friday the 13th reboot. He also did the Swamp Thing.
Yep. A nice little shout out video that he did for us
Yeah,
from my buddy.
shit's funny. He's and a lot of people will tell you this if you ever meet Derek Mears. He's the nicest freaking guy.
Oh yeah.
He looks like he'd be intimidating. He is the nicest guy. He will talk with you. He's just a really genuine person.
Hmm. And then we have our buddy James Jude. Uh, big. You're a big fan of the Halloween trilogy,
Sure,
the new one.
sure. Yeah, no, like I mean, he did a great job. James U. Courtney was, really good as Michael Myers.
Hmm.
What was cool about him? You would see him like walking around the con quite a bit. Like he was leaving for dinner. He just says what's up to everybody too.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna sit there and
Oh yeah.
say. Like what happened was when we seen him, we were in line for David, and he was just walking by, and I'm like, "What up, James?" And he fucking hit me with this fucking Hulk Hogan chop to the fucking chest. I'm like, this fucking guy. I'm like, this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
like,
he said what's up to us when we were outside too. So I mean he's just out there like
nah, he's a
just
good
greeting
time.
everybody. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
It's all about having fun, you know. So like you said, that was probably like the second time we've seen him at a
Yep.
convention.
Yep.
Actually, probably third. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
yeah, he's been
And then
killing it.
there was some F-13 people there.
Yep.
Your boy
Ari, first Jason.
first,
I was
Jason.
he's cool. So I'll share a little story later when we talk about the concert, but he was hanging around in the pit. So I ran into him after at the
Okay.
pit too. So he's cool. He's a cool guy. You know, he's funny. You know,
He's a personality, right? Like he's got a
yeah,
personality. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I would say that. But he's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Um, did you
Sean S. Cunningham.
did you ever think we'd meet Sean S. Cunningham?
No.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanted to say, you know what I mean? It's a time and a place for things. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I wanted to talk about the rights and everything that went down, but I'm just like, I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm actually meeting this guy right now because, you know, I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, you know, about everything about that film. So the whole thing set up so it's like, you know, it was cool to be able to, you know, meet him and then see how little he was. And then it was funny, you had to pull
Dude,
out a little step stool. He's like, hold on, wait a minute, I'll be back. You guys are big. I'm like, what the fuck is
that
going on?
was awesome. And dude, there's no way we would have been able to go there and talk shit either. He was so freaking nice.
No, yeah.
He was all smiles. Hey, yeah, guys, come on. And like, yeah, I just got a stool and popped up.
That's why I said it's a time and a place for things. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, like I said, but I'm never gonna come up to somebody and like disrespect them or hit
Yeah.
them with some bullshit or do
Yeah.
anything to kind of like get
Because it
into
is
it.
what it is in the long run.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
So yeah. You gotta get you one of those step stools for the fucking for the road, man.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy. I'm like, what
I
the
know.
fuck's he got over here?
I
Did
mean, he
he
must have
hop
been like
down?
5'5".
Nah, I think he was shorter. Cause how tall is Shannon?
Oh, she's like 5'2".
Yeah, and they were like the same height.
Oh yeah, so he's like
So that's
five
what we were
two.
talking. Yeah, but that's why I looked it up when I looked up his Google
Oh, it
shit.
said
He
five
has
five,
these
right?
marked as 5'5". I'm like, this
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
is
yeah.
not
We're like,
five
no
five.
way. That's true. Yeah, that's hilarious.
So in the picture, so it's for everybody to know, like when we post it, it's cut off. We don't have his feet showing everything. Like he is not the same height as us. He's on the step stool and we're still taller than him.
Yeah,
So, but that was a cool experience though.
definitely. And I'm kind of like kicking myself that I didn't bring my Friday the 13th VHS to get it signed
Mm,
because I feel like that would have been a very appropriate thing to have signed. I'm kind of jealous of everyone that brought their posters to have
hmm.
him sign it because that's a pretty cool little take home.
We got pictures though. I think for me, I think pictures are more are just special. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's
no,
just like
I
that
definitely
moment.
prefer. Yep.
Yeah. Like
I
for
definitely
me,
prefer the pictures.
yeah, like autographs for me, I don't I can care less about them.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a
So
time where I was like big into collecting the autographs and I'm like, they're just sitting in like storage now. And yeah, the
depends
pictures
on
at
who
least
it
we can
is.
look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Quinn Lord from who's Sam from Trick or Treat was there, which is cool. We mentioned Devin Sawa and Nick Castle.
Yeah, Nick Castle was there.
He was
And
kind
they
of
had
roaming around a lot too. I don't know
yeah,
if you
he was
caught
just
that. He
walking
was
around
walking by.
eating.
Yep. Yep.
Eating a
Yep.
fucking doughboy walking by us.
I feel like he's been doing a lot of these too. So that's cool that, he's kind of embracing that. He's like so beloved in the community.
And it was funny because we talk about how Sean S. Cunningham is so short that when Nick Castle had walked by us, that was probably like the first time I ever seen that guy stand up.
Mm.
Like he's
Oh yeah, yeah,
tall.
yeah, that's right.
He was
Yep.
tall because usually at his
He's
tables,
sitting. Yeah.
like he has to sit, he sits down all the time. So if you have a picture with Nick Castle, he's usually sitting down. So I was like, oh shit, I didn't even fucking know that was him. So
That's right. Eldon Henson was also there. We already mentioned he was in Idle Hands.
Yep.
Um, and then there was the Jordan Ladd and is it Serena Vincent
Yeah.
from Cabin Fever were both there. Um, oh, and
Uh,
then obviously the Terrifier people.
oh yeah.
So
It was just crazy. Like we talked about earlier, like the lines and everything like that. This year, I when I walked in there, I'm like, this is a fucking Terrifier con.
yep,
This is Terrifier con all day long. And then when you hit that back table, fucking David's line, Damien's line, Lauren's line, Elliot's line were just fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
Amelia was she wasn't there
Yeah, she would.
long at her table. I feel like she
No,
was brief.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know if she was doing some photo ops at the time, but she came later on. But I'm just saying, like,
and
it is so cool to see like the Terrifier crew getting their time to shine.
yep,
And because usually when we were at the cons, the lines weren't that long, and their lines were bigger than everyone that was theirs.
yeah,
So,
and it just kind of showed that like that movie really reignited like the love for the genre with like
hmm
probably newer horror fans or like younger horror fans.
hmm
Um, not appropriate for younger horror fans, but for younger horror fans because they're watching it anyway. But yeah, it really did like because I mean everybody's always Ghostface, Jason,
yeah,
Freddy, all the Michael Myers, but like now everybody's there as Terrifier.
yeah.
Everyone's there as the girl mini girl Terrifier. Um, yeah, that was like that cosplay was crazy.
Yeah, and the cosplay contests were
Yep.
just full of all Terrifiers. Like even the little kids, like you said, there was like the little guys and everything. So it was
Yeah.
just like shout out to David Howard Thornton, man, and Damien. So you guys definitely deserve everything you guys have been through with this whole franchise and like making what it is because it went from just releasing like on a little small budget to release the second one, releasing it in the theater, and then it just doing the numbers that it did to get horror going crazy, where it's like you said, like for us growing up, it was all those regular icons. Now
Yeah.
fucking Art the Clown's gonna be in like Call of Duty. Like you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So, their lines were kind of long. So we met Damien and we met David. David's came on the show before. So we kind of just gave that time to like all the fans to sit there and you know, fan out.
Yeah.
And we kind of just we were able to meet Lauren
Yep.
and I think that
Yeah. That
was
was
a
our first
really
time getting to meet her. She's super nice.
yeah, so I always talk about that, how that franchise, like for the second film, it was so cool that they just kind of like took the focus off of art on every shot and added in like, some more characters in the family, like Lauren and Elliot, where now those guys are shining like
Hmm.
rock stars too,
Yep.
so it's pretty cool.
I gotta say that the new trailer for part three looks crazy. We were talking about it like, oh, how are they gonna fit in some of these characters? Or are they gonna be returning? And
hmm
in the trailer, looks like they're all back. Most of them are back that we were able to see at that con. The trailer looks great, and the new popcorn bucket's out, so I'm sure people
Yep.
are people are getting ready for this film. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, they definitely killed it.
Yep.
So shout out to the whole Terrifier crew, family. Um, even they're linked in with the Stream
Yeah.
family. They're all the same, So it was cool to see those guys have that moment for this convention. And it was actually to add on to it, like, at the last day of the convention, Spencer and Ice Nine Kills, the whole group and the whole Terrifier camp came together in a panel and they announced that, they're going to be doing the official music video and song for Terrifier 3 for Ice Nine Kills. So that's
That's awesome.
special. You know what I mean? I had, like I said, when we were in there, I mean, this is a fucking Terrifier con. I knew something was gonna come. I knew something was gonna happen, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why we never had an Art the Clown song by those guys? Now we do. Now we're gonna have one. It's in the film. So, and actually tonight they're doing the premiere down at Fantastic Fest for
Yes.
part three.
Yep.
So
Yep. So jealous. Where's Fantastic Fest?
I think that's down in Texas
I
this
thought
year.
so. Yeah, I think
In
you're right.
Texas this
I,
year.
I think it's at one of the spots is at an Alamo, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yep.
So
But
that
yeah.
brought us to the concert.
Yep. The,
So
the the concert was like really special because we were kind of like going through the whole day, the convention where everybody was saying, "Hey, you guys gonna go? You guys gonna go?" We was just like,
yeah,
we
because
don't know.
we initially weren't going to go. We had been there since the morning.
Yep.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, walking in there was like not very familiar with any of the bands,
Hmm.
just for one reason or another. But like literally every person told us, you gotta go. Like Peter
Yeah.
Anthony is like, no, you guys are going, you guys are going. Like Marcus Levine is like, you guys have to go see this. It's so like just everybody was like just saying how crazy it was gonna be, how much of an
Hmm.
experience it is, whether you're a fan of the style of music or not, you're gonna enjoy it.
And it
Truer
they
words has
were
never been said. Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing, man. Like, cause we were sitting there and we talked about it. Like, I've listened to like a few of their songs, but I never like really got like hooked to their songs. You know what I mean? Like, or what they did because it wasn't that I was just being like ignorant and not paying attention to what they were doing, but it was just like, okay, we went to the show and dude, I think that definitely whenever you see someone live, that
It does
definitely
something.
changes your
Yeah,
outlook on
for
you. And
sure.
I'm like, yo, I'm a fan. I'm a fan now.
I'm like waiting for the next tour because I'm like, we are going to
I've
that
got
for
to
sure.
go because it
Yeah.
was just like the way they put on the show. So first we had like, Avatar was a part of the show. We missed their gig.
Yeah.
First
We saw like the
Jason.
last two songs of Avatar and we missed
Yeah.
first Jason,
First
unfortunately.
Jason was up. And in this moment, they were right before Ice Nine Kills, and when we talk about working at the group home and stuff, and we had kids that were like fans of in this moment, and
Yeah.
so it was kind of cool to be like in there listening to their shit, and it was cool because it gives you that outlook on like, all right, yeah, this band is crazy live, and so
Great show. I actually, yeah, I would say that that was like super enjoyable. And that's another band I feel like I am hoping
a
to
fan.
see again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is the second time I think they did something together, so I think that we can probably see them again next
They're
year
going to
on
be
tour.
in this moment, it's going to be in New Hampshire in like a month or two, like that, or something like that. So
You
might see
riding
if I
down
can
to New
check them
Hampshire
out.
for that?
Maybe.
There you go.
Depends
Yeah,
what night.
man. And the Nice Nine Kills came on the stage, man. It was just like, all right, the crowd went crazy. It was cool because they had that big rated R sheet come down that was blocking it. So it was
Yep.
just like the screen that they would show before like coming attractions and stuff, like the red screen for rated R for horror. So that was cool, you know what I mean? Be able to see that. So like I said before, we were able to be, press at this event. So we were actually in a press area like in the front, like before the barricades and everything in front of the stage over there security. So we got a nice shot of the stage and also the side of the where they were getting ready at and they had like
Hmm.
their um props and everything. So it was cool. There was some of the what was it, the killer clowns from outer space, little hooks
Yes.
hanging there.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. But
And so during in this moment, there was one spot where they did a song, and right as the song was about to start, they unleashed like so much confetti, more
yeah.
confetti than I think I've ever seen. Probably more confetti than in the Super Bowl. It was crazy. It was like literally covering everything and
Yeah.
everywhere. And then there was just giant balloons that they threw out. There must have been like 20 of those, and they were huge. And like that was like just that just got everybody so hyped. Like
And
everybody was just going nuts at that point. And then
mm,
like 20 minutes later, Ice Nine Kills comes on, and people were just locked in. He had like freaking fireworks going.
oh yeah,
He was
everything,
shooting up
man.
fireworks.
He had all the props to the songs, like, what I mean, because they had songs for like Psycho, the shower scene song, I think was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And
I
like
love that
even
song.
even the Pet Cemetery song, that's one of my favorite songs too. And Welcome to Horrorwood. Those
Yep.
are those are
He had
definitely
he had Jason come on stage, and
yeah.
then he had first Jason come up when during that song, I believe.
Hmm.
Um he had a song for Nightmare on Elm Street, so he's wearing the glove and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, just so many. I love like I said, I love the props that he includes because the dude's just literally doing the thing he loves, like just living out
Yeah.
his dream. It feels
And
like.
they had the Pennywise song, so they had Georgie come on the stage and he put on like a little Pennywise mask. And even the band, like everybody else is they're
Yeah.
interactive too. So like I said, when they had like the Pet Cemetery stuff on, they had like the little face mask on and stuff like that. And then it was cool. They had the shovel. At the end of the show, he had like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it was cool. He was doing a little dance that
Yep.
Leatherface does at the end.
He was
So
doing his he did his remake of I'm Walking on Sunshine.
yeah,
Obviously, shout
yep,
out to American Psycho.
yeah, he's a big
I
fan.
He is. And the other thing I gotta say is like he had band members from Real Big Fish. So for
Mm,
anybody like familiar with like the ska band Real Big Fish, that was a
mm,
cool thing because he has a collab song with them. And yeah, just hearing that in there was like such a throwback because that's like early 2000s to me, ska music, which
yep.
that's such a great vibe. So like yeah, it was just an awesome show.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's like I think a lot of times when we do like go to events and something, like you leave a little earlier before me all the
Yeah,
time, and then
I
you
do.
miss those magical moments. Like, because I remember what was it? We was in Salem one year. You left, and then I'm out to dinner, hanging
Oh
out
yeah,
with
you
fucking
met Kane
Kane
Hodder that
Hodder,
freaking
just sitting
night.
there chilling with them,
That's
eating.
right. Yeah.
You left the show early. So like as soon as the show ended, I'm like walking out like the press area and then like those dudes are coming right off the fucking stage and I'm just sitting there just like all right, like you guys fucking killed it. I'm like dapping them all up and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, thanks, we appreciate it." I'm like, "Yo, and I just want to let you guys know that this convention and this whole thing that you guys put together, like much respect. You guys fucking did it." And then they were just like so happy, like you know what I mean. And then I was just like, "Oh man, I get a picture." And then so Spencer, your fucking security guard had one job to do.
Well,
I
technically
had
two.
yeah,
One to keep
bro.
him safe, the second one to take the pic.
And so he takes a picture, and then so I'm like, all right, cool, and I'm like dapping him up, like, all right, guys, take it easy. And I'm leaving, I'm walking down the street, and then like the crowds are going crazy because everybody's just like walking out every from the show. I run into Garrett. Garrett's like, dude, you see my friend? I'm like, dude, no, I don't even remember what he looked like. And then so I'm like continuing walking, and I'm like going pull my phone out, pull it up. That is the most blurriest pic I ever seen. Like you can't even make it out who's in it.
I
I'm
feel
just
like they
sitting.
probably went back on the bus and were laughing about it. It was like a prank. Like
No, it
it
was
almost it looks intentionally blurry. It's so
no,
blurry.
no, no. That shit was so bad. I'm like, you can't even tell who's in it. I sent you a picture, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this? You're
Little
like,
did you know
wow.
that that security guard has really bad tremors and like it
I'm
it
like,
looks like he was shaking the camera as he was doing it.
yeah, that was nuts. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like one of
How
those
come
time
your
lapse photo.
how come your live photo wasn't on?
I don't. It was, but I don't know what the fuck happened. That shit was bad. That shit was bad.
That was bizarre.
So, but it was cool though. Just having that experience and kind of like chop it up
Yes.
with them
So
and
you
see
saw
what they're.
him and you ran into Ari at the
Yeah,
end
Ari
too.
was right. Yep, Ari was right on the side. I
It
told
was
him I was like,
it was really cool too because like at one point I looked behind him, I'm like Brandon, freaking James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle are standing next to each other behind us.
yeah,
Like just cool. It was a cool
yeah, just being
experience.
in that area, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that overall, I just want to say thank you to Silver Scream Con for having us as the press, and on this event because that was really special for us and we had a great time. And like you said, we had a really fun time. And I think that, for us as creators, it was needed for me and you, like this break. I think that it brought us a little bit closer because it's like not at time a lot of times we have that time to kind of like just chill and have fun. It's
Yeah.
like I was
Yeah.
saying before, I'm like, even with PVD horror now, it's just more like a job.
Yeah.
It's like it started off with us, having fun, watching movies with friends, to now making sure like are the customers satisfied? To having friends on the podcast, to having big names of people that we looked up to,
Yeah.
watched as a kid. Um, it's just, to have take that moment and just kind of like zoom out and have a good time and just see friends and reconnect with
Yeah.
everybody. It just meant a lot. So, and then for the guys that put this event together to be as cool as they are. Just definitely meant a lot. So
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah. It was a great time. And
Silver Stream Con.
yep, can't wait to go next year.
Yep.
I am ready. So yeah, thank you to Silver Scream Con. And yeah, thanks to everybody that was there that, said what's
Mhm.
up to us. Thanks to everyone who listens to us or watches us. We appreciate you guys. And like Brandon said earlier, if you guys see us at one of these cons or at an
Mhm.
event or even just out on the street, make sure you say hi, introduce yourself. We would love to meet you and just kind of see like what kind of people we're connecting with. But don't ever feel like you don't want to approach because you're not sure because like yeah we're like quite the opposite of those kind of people and we are super shy so like the
Yeah.
odds that we're going to go approach you is probably even lower than you're going to approach us so no but yeah just genuine thanks to everybody and yeah we got more cons coming up this month. I mean this was just like the first of a few so great
Yeah.
start and then next
Yep.
month we got all the Halloween events coming up so we got
Hmm.
really busy stuff. So I'm glad we were able to start off this spooky season with something fun. I'm not going to say low key, but it was like relaxing for us.
It
Like
was.
we were able to just have a good time and not feel like pressure on us. So
Hmm.
now next month we're going to have a bunch of stuff with pressure on us. So we'll enjoy this while it lasts. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you later.
Take it easy.
Have a good night.